Yeah. Welcome to the Social Millennial Podcast. Gang. We out here. NYC bouncing back in big ways. For real. People are starting to wear masks. I mean, y'all have been doing it, but it's all over the place now. Indoor dining doesn't look like it's coming back anytime soon, but fingers kind of crossed, fingers not kind of crossed. I kind of really like the outdoor dining thing. I'm a person who likes to be outdoors. I love playing music outdoors. I love singing outdoors. It's just something about the wind, something about the breezes and the atmosphere and the sun that just gets you engaged with life, gets you engaged with the world in a different way than just kind of being outside, looking out the window, watching life pass us by, and or digesting life through screens. You know, I don't know who can identify. If you can identify and you're listening to this on YouTube, slap that like button. But NYC bouncing back in great ways. A lot of the haters are still talking about NYC's dead. How about no, fam? NYC is not dead. NYC is unkillable. We are the cultural center of the world, the melting pot. Gang. Everybody wants to be like us, but nobody wants to be like us. You feel me? They'll never admit it, but they know they want to be us so bad. No other cities got the swag like NYC, you feel me? If anybody feels me, y'all know what to do. Nobody's got our swag, nobody's got our accent, nobody's got the gangsta lean, you feel me? Nobody got it but NYC. They all come here to do it. They all come here to make it. And if they can't make it, then they bounce out, you feel me? They bounce all the way out. All the way. It's in the song. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. If you can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. You know, it's up to you. New York, you feel me? Start spreading the news. You know? We got songs about us. Iconic songs sung by icons. You feel me? Ain't nobody singing about Cleveland. I miss those days in Cleveland. No one's singing that. We talk about New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. You feel me? Songs written about New York, hundreds and hundreds. Anyway, let me stop tooting. Stop tooting before somebody gets mad. Feel me? But we out here. A lot of things going on right now in our world. A lot of great things and a lot of not so great things. You got to kind of sift through the not so great to get to the great. It seems like the media kind of just wants to highlight all of the not so great things. But it's an election year, so I guess that's to be expected, right? That is definitely to be expected. The 24-hour news cycle to be dominated by he said, she said, he did, she did. Look at this over here. Look at this brutality. Look at this other thing, and so on. Let's jump to the conclusion, or let's do this, or let's do. You know, it's all there. I kind of don't want to highlight it too much. I'm finding these days, as much as I want to report on some news, as much as I want to shed some light on some things, I'm finding it difficult these days to even want to absorb it, you know? I don't know if anybody's feeling that way too out there in the world under the sound of my voice. It gets exhausting. Sitting down and just scrolling through the feed and just seeing all the news, and it's like, what for? You know? What is this? What is even this? What is this even? Yeah. I feel like that would be the nice little jumping off point to get into a political rant, but that's not what's going to happen today. I'm not going to do a political rant. What I will touch on, I think I'm going to go into something a little bit, then I'm going to go a little light, and then I'm going to go into something else. Because I did promise some story last podcast for this episode, and I'm definitely going to deliver. So, oh man, stretching out. Muscles getting tight. But I was just thinking to myself that, well, I was reading an article about John Boyega's experience on Star Wars and how he, sort of the things that he's had to go through as a black man in Hollywood. It was an article highlighting that and highlighting, what is this actor's name from Justice League? What is this actor's? It's escaping me right now. I had him on my clipboard, but I removed it. I removed it on the tip of my tongue. On the tip of the tongue. Ray Fisher. There we go. Ray Fisher. There was a thing on Twitter that happened. I forget the guy's name, but sort of a scenario set up that the two of them need to get together, John Boyega and Ray Fisher, and sort of talk about what they've had to go through as black men, people of color in Hollywood. And Ray Fisher saying, yeah, that needs to happen, but it's not going to happen yet because there are some pending investigations going on, third-party investigations at Warner Brothers regarding what went down on the reshoots, on the set of the reshoots of Justice League with Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns and so on. So they're making a case or investigating how much of an advantage Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, and this other dude, I'm forgetting his name, how much of an advantage they decided to take, how many liberties they decided to take during the Time Warner AT&T merger. So he was saying he couldn't really talk too much about it yet. They couldn't really do their sit down, whatever it is, whether it's going to be in podcast form or something to talk about that, but that it would be a doozy. You know, John Boyega's like, yeah, it would really change Hollywood, the things that they'd have to say, or that the things that they have to share regarding their experiences. And it got me thinking about people's journeys, our journeys. And this is every man, woman, boy, girl, everyone included. Every race, every creed. This isn't, I know it, I've started, the jumping off point is from something regarding regarding a race relation towards Hollywood. But it got me thinking about something broader, and I wasn't necessarily taken aback, but just reminded that people's journeys are different. And it seems like something super rudimentary, you know, a notion, concept y'all have heard before about people's journeys, and not everyone's journey is the same to get from point A to point B. But I was thinking about how even in our career paths, the powers that be, whether you're, climbing the ladder in a corporation, or you work in a church, or you work for a nonprofit, regardless of what your field is, the powers that be in that field often see they see a cookie cutter approach to getting to certain heights. And a lot of those cookie cutter approaches, not all of them, but a lot of those cookie cutter approaches, those predetermined lanes, those predetermined steps and so on, are actually put in place to make it harder for you to get to where you want to go in your career. Now, adversity is good. Adversity makes us strong. We fight through the struggles. We learn, we grow, etc. There's an upside to adversity and rising to it and finding out what we're made of. But as I said, often these sort of steps are really restrictions. They're really fences that you have to climb. And as you advance forward and you face certain kinds of adversities or adversity, I don't think adversity is the word, but when you face certain kinds of adversity, I feel, in my opinion, it shouldn't be a fence that you've got to climb. Now, that imagery of climbing up the mountain of whatever company you're in to get to the top and so on, that still stays there. That's still relevant. But you shouldn't have to necessarily climb over a fence to get to the next level of something. I mean, sometimes climbing the fence is the test, but oftentimes it's unnecessary. Oftentimes, if you got it, you got it. If you're on it, if you're doing what you got to do, if you're making it through, you should be making it. But alas, that's not how our world functions. That's not how humans function, how people function. People are people, quote, unquote. People are people. They're going to want to gatekeep. They're going to want to impress upon you, or they're going to want to block you from getting to certain places because they feel that you didn't go through the struggle that they had to go through to get to where they are. So they're going to put up arbitrary fences, arbitrary qualifications, arbitrary rules in order for you to try to have to jump through the hoops of struggle to prove to them that you deserve to be where you are, or you deserve to be where your talent, your skill, and your profession deems that you should be. And it's trash. 100% trash, 100% bogus, 100% get that out of here. Yeah. It's discouraging by design. So if you've got the skill, and oftentimes too, these individuals or structures or organizations or so on who created these sort of these hoops to jump through, these fences that you got to climb, these barriers to access, they're often afraid of individuals who possess the skills that they had to work so hard to adopt, to learn, that there are individuals out there, afraid of individuals out there who have the same skills innately, that they're built for that field in a way that these higher ups, these tastemakers, these playmakers, these gatekeepers, in a way that they were not built for. And so they'll keep out certain kinds of individuals. They'll keep out, and that extends to certain races, that extends to ethnicities, that extends to many different factors. They will keep them out so that those who are willing to go through the struggles that they went through in order to learn something from scratch that they did not innately have, so that those people can get to where can ascend and climb the ladders and so on and so forth. And it's trash. 100% trash. And I know we probably will not ever be able to change that, because people are people, humans are humans. As long as we've got humans, we're going to have that problem. But it got me thinking. Encouragement. Y'all, your journey is not going to look like XYZ's journey. It's not. It's going to look different. Be okay with that difference. Be okay and content with your journey not looking like somebody else's, because you never know what someone else's journey really entailed. Like you could say that you did this or you had to go through this, but to experience it is a whole other thing. So be glad for your journey and be glad for other people's journeys, and don't necessarily covet their journeys, because their journeys weren't built for you. Your journey was built for you. It's not going to be the same kind of deal. So yeah, don't get too bogged down. You see these individuals, certain kinds of individuals developing and being handed opportunities and so on, and you're like, man, you're not even that good at this. You're not even that talented. You're not even this. You're not even that. Don't get don't get too upset about it. Don't wallow in that upsetment. Remember that your time is coming, and remember that your journey is building you and fortifying what's there, strengthening what's there, so that when the opportunity comes in whatever field that you're in, you're prepared for the opportunity, and you don't necessarily have to rise to the occasion. The occasion is below you. You know, you've already trained yourself up. You've already got yourself ready and prepared to the point that when that opportunity comes, it's nothing, my G. It's light work. That's how you got to do it. That's how you got to function. It's light work. It's light work. So don't get discouraged. And remember, when you see those that you look up to, especially those in the media, they never really show you the behind the scenes. They never show you how long it took to make a Will Ferrell, how long it took to make a Kevin Hart, how many years of just feeling like he's not going to make it, like maybe I need to stop doing this and so on. The years of doubt and uncertainty, they don't show you all of that. When you see they just show you the finished product. So keep that in mind as well. Because it can be discouraging seeing XYZ flourish and you're like, why am I not, why do they not pick me? Why do they not do that? Why did I not get this promotion and so on? Just remember, you don't know anybody else's journey, and everybody's journey is a little different. At least for those who decide to take the journey. There are others who decide not to take the journey and look at in their field, they eye what the structure is or how they need to structure their growth patterns and so on to get to where they need to be. And they just execute that. Like super robotically. Okay, I have to do these numbers to do that. So this is what I do, and I get to and that works for people 100%. But it's not going to work for everyone because humans are not the same thing. So yeah, y'all, just be encouraged. Be encouraged. Your journey's not going to look like everybody else's. You may get a lot of rejection, but keep at it. And now for something a little bit lighter. UFC. I don't think I ever really talk about UFC very much, but I am very much so a mixed martial arts fan. I train a bit in boxing. Picked up Wing Chun a few years ago. That's a pretty cool thing. Debating going into jiu-jitsu, I don't know. But just, it's in the back of my mind. UFC 253. I am super eyeing that middleweight championship bout. Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Acosta. Yo. My thoughts? I think it's probably not a hot take. It's probably so many people that feel this way. But I feel that Israel Adesanya up to this point has been protected by the UFC. I was going to say by Dana White, but it's the UFC. He's not the sole guy that calls the shots. I believe that in the absence of Conor McGregor, the UFC as a company and the sport needed something to sustain. Someone that draws eyes. So with Conor gone, Khabib gone, there was an opening in the middleweight for someone, flashy, someone who's sort of got the in-ring charisma and so on, who's got the slang, who's young enough, that he can identify with those demographics and so I feel like he started winning, he was doing his thing. And when it got to the harder fights, not necessarily the harder fights, plural, because he fought Whitaker, and that was a win. That was a win. He fought Henry Cejudo? No, he didn't fight. Did he fight? No, he didn't fight Cejudo. He fought this other dude, Gastelum, Kelvin Gastelum. That was a legit fight. I'm not necessarily thinking or insinuating that any of his fights were fixed, because I don't really think that. Though I don't really know, but I don't really think that. I haven't gotten that impression. But what I will say is that they have, or where I'm going is that they have been protecting him, protecting his win streak so that he can continue to sort of to soar as a personality in the UFC, bringing eyes to the UFC. And I think that's trash because he has a great kickboxing record, and I think he should just be able to stand on his merits and his skills and his training and give him some fights and let him fight it out. I believe that he was being protected and sort of hidden away from Yoel Romero. And last big UFC card, when he fought Romero, it showed he was scared. He was scared. It wasn't just caution. It was, I don't want to get knocked out. I don't want to be made a fool of. Romero was waiting because the way Israel was talking, he was talking his talk to sell that fight. The way Israel was talking, I was expecting him to come in like a warrior and fight this dude because he said he wanted this fight to silence all of the naysayers about him running and hitting from the outside and getting certain kinds of shots in and not necessarily being a warrior going in, thunder in your hands, and just taking it and dishing it out. He hasn't gone through a fight like that, in my opinion. Not like Romero versus Acosta. That fight was bonkers. That fight was fire. I believe Yoel Romero was robbed. I think he should have won that fight. I believe that the takedowns that he performed should have pushed him over the edge in points to win that decision. Very much so upset decision. But hey, Israel Adesanya pointed out Yoel Romero and wanted that fight because Acosta couldn't fight because I think he tore his bicep or something like that. He had an injury and he had to pull out. But yeah, and so when we got the fight, the Romero fight, I believe that Adesanya should have fought Romero earlier as he was rising up the ranks, and that fight never happened because they were protecting him. I believe that if he pulled up pre middleweight championship and just came in to come fight Romero would have destroyed him. That's what I think. I think in that fight that he just danced around and kicked Romero's leg and refused to get in the mix. I think that if he got in the mix, Romero would have broken him to pieces. And it was interesting because Romero in that fight was still respecting Adesanya's stand-up game because Adesanya is the more seasoned striker than Romero. So that was cool that he was giving him that respect and not just rushing in and trying to take his head off or trying to hurt him. But it was a trash fight. And Dana White didn't want that fight. I don't think the powers that be wanted that fight. I think they needed a fight because Acosta backed out and Adesanya had been challenging and eyeing Romero for a long time because of what the fans were saying, that he was a paper champion, or I don't think he was a champion at that point. Yeah, no, he was. This was a title. I think it was a title defense. And it proved to me that Adesanya is a paper champion right now. That's what I think he is now. This fight coming up with Paulo Acosta is going to test him. Unless he gets in some weird question mark heel kick, some kind of something that he's going to knock out Acosta, I don't know that that's going to happen because right now in the UFC, they both have perfect records. They're putting both their perfect records on the line. Israel Adesanya is talking his, cash money stuff, talking his talk to sell the fight. And it looks cool. It looks great. I just don't know. Acosta is a beast like Yoel Romero, just not as experienced as Yoel, but a beast nonetheless. And he could take hits. Romero beat him bloody. And this dude was not getting knocked out. So I think if I had to predict the outcome of UFC 232, right? UFC 232? I would say 253. I'm bugging. I would say that Acosta wins by decision. That's what I think. 5-round fight. 5 minutes around or 2 minutes around. Excuse me. I think that Acosta wins that fight by decision. I think he beats him up. I think he beats him up real good. And or knocks him out. I don't think Adesanya's going to get knocked out, but I wouldn't put it past Acosta. Acosta is powerful. He punches hard. He's got cannons. It's just when he fought Romero, it didn't look like it because Romero is a mountain of muscle with a thick neck, you know? So I think that happens. And if Adesanya wins, it's going to be by knockout. He's going to do some spinning heel kick or some flying elbow. It's got to be something really, really hard that collides with Adesanya, not just the fists. But hey, we'll see what happens there. I don't see Adesanya winning that fight if it goes to decision. Because I understand he'll probably throw the most volume strikes, even though he's not a volume fighter. But even then, let me not say that, because Acosta's style is coming in, chasing you down, and fighting you. It's not like Romero, who was respecting Adesanya striking and kind of just waiting for Adesanya to pull up so he could counter punch. Acosta is, I'm coming for you. I'm going to stand in front of you and we're going to trade. Much like Joanna when she fought Zhang Weili. Acosta, when he fought Romero, he showed that he was not afraid of Romero's power and his explosivity. He pulled up and just stayed in front of him. Romero was doing his thing, circling, throwing here, circling, and Acosta would just be on him. Pressure. I don't think Adesanya is ready for that kind of pressure from a dude that's that big. Right now, Adesanya has been fighting or defending his title against a lot of people that are smaller than him, shorter than him. Acosta's pretty tall and is buff like crazy. Super strong. A lot of stamina. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think Adesanya is going to win this fight. And if it goes to decision and he wins, that's going to be funky. That's going to be a little bit of an upset. But yeah, so I'm done with that. Those are my little predictions for the UFC. Adesanya, paper champion. Let him fight. Let him do his thing. Stylebender needs to style bend on Acosta. I don't know how he's going to do it, but it's going to make things interesting. Now I'll get a little bit more intense. So story time. Another sort of little life lesson that I had to learn, or at least got hammered into me. Reality hammered this thing into me. That it's not going to matter how long you know somebody. It's not going to matter all of the experiences that you had with someone that mattered to you. It's not going to matter how close you were with them. It's not even going to matter if when y'all parted ways, it was fine. It was great. Like it wasn't anything hostile. There was no hostility. None of those things matter. People, if someone is a hater, they're going to be a hater when you're gone. They're going to be a hater 100% of the time. Even if you didn't show yourself to be trifling or shady or like uneven in some way, they are going to hate on you. And it's trash. I don't like it. I don't like that that's a thing. I don't like that that's kind of a fact of life. If I know you or I spend such a long time with you, I feel like you should know me enough to know or to expect certain kinds of things from me based on my character. So to the story, I will not say any names to protect the innocent, but I was baby flex, kind of little baby flex. I was recording an album that I had written for an organization that shall not be named. I was recording at the Log Cabin, which is in Manhattan. I believe it's above the Hammerstein Ballroom in that building. Was recording there. Shout out to Brother Rich. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to Anthony Cespedes. Y'all are fire dudes. The engineers, the recording engineers that assisted us. We recorded a live album and we filmed it simultaneously, which is pretty wild. That was so stressful. I will go into that story in more detail at another point. Not at this point. This story is going to focus on a friend of mine who I had asked to come and chill out. The way the log cabin is set up, it's got some couches, it's got some cool little lounging places. It's a nice little environment, nice little rustic environment in the middle of a metropolitan NYC, in the middle of Gotham. And I was like, yo, pull up. Now, this dude is someone that I've known for many, many years, from when we were young, or younger, I should say. He's younger than I am. We're both still young. But yeah, I helped to introduce him to his instrument and coached him along in his infancy and learning this instrument, fanning the flames of his love for this instrument, teaching him when he was a child. And I was blessed to still be in contact with him to this day. I'm very blessed for that. But I had texted him like, yo, you want to pull up? You want to come and just be there, be the fly on the wall, see what I do for a living, see what experiences that I have. I want to share that with you. And I texted a few other people while things were going on, because we were going to be there for a lot of hours. If you're filming and recording a live album in studio, it takes a while. There's different takes you got to do. It's a whole thing. Cameras rolling. We had to get even more time than what we expected or what we had allotted originally, and they were cool with it. So shout out to the log cabin and their administrators, because they were down. And so I had texted a bunch of other people, and they couldn't pull up, and that was okay. I was feeling hype because I love being in the studio. I just love it, especially at that scale. And I love being in the studio, and it was great. It was a thing, a high of being in the position to record and perform songs that I had written that someone wanted, someone desired them to be on this album. So there was a super big thing for me, emotionally and spiritually and mentally, and so on and so forth. And so I wanted certain people to be a part of that occasion. And a lot of people didn't pull up, or just were not available, or didn't even respond to me, which is a whole other thing, a whole other topic. But my guy responded to me. It's like, yo, I'm gonna pull up. Because I remember I had told him earlier that I was going to be in the studio, and if he wants to pull up, he could pull up. And so he was thinking about, I learned later on, got the backstory later on, that he was thinking about pulling up from when I had let him know that it was happening and he's free to pull up. He was thinking about doing it when I had told him the first time. And so on the day, I reached out to him again. Like, I'm here chilling. I had already shared some photos on the gram in the studio, what the board's looking like, and so on. We were using a board, that Timbaland used to use in the Missy Elliott days. And so it was so cool. And I'm geeking out in terms of studio tech, because I'm into that too. But I put out some pictures and things, and I had told this dude to pull up, and he was like, yo, I'm gonna pull up, I'm coming, the whole shebang. He pulls up. We have a great experience. He stays. I didn't expect him to stay for the whole thing. I expected him to pull up, lounge. Whoa, this is cool. This is great. Enjoy the experience. Take it in. I don't remember if it was his first time in a professional studio. But he took it in, man. And it was great. I loved it. I loved that he was there, that he was able to share that experience with me. It meant a lot to me. He stayed all the way to the end. We were packing up, and I'm the guy I have to be the first in, the last to come out. I'm the musical director, producer, songwriter. I got to be that guy. That's just how I am. So he was there with me, we were packing up and just chilling and talking and things. And I come to find out that his mother was kind of trying to get him not to pull up. Like on some hater status. Now, it was difficult for me to process it when he was telling me because I'd known his mother for a long time. I've known this guy from when he was a child. For a long, long time. You know, a lot of spiritual connections there with his family and so on, and his extended family. And I had never, at least to my knowledge, had not had any ill encounters. Like it was all good. It was all cool. And so I come to find out, according to what he told me, that his mom was like, you know, people, it was something like this. So I'm paraphrasing, but the gist was it might not even be real. You know, you might go there and he's not even there, and there's nobody there, nothing's thing, because people put up pictures, on social media, and they are really faking. And so he's telling me this, and I'm like, whoa. Because I'm thinking in my mind, what would lead this person to believe that I'm going to lie to their son like that? Especially about music things, when he and I were involved in music for so many years together. And I was very much so in a mentorship role for him. How could you believe that? How could you think that? And how could you sow those seeds of doubt in him? Because I'm sure he showed his mother the pictures on social media that I had taken in real time because I was there. And people just did like I was stunting for the gram, and it wasn't real. And so I invited him, but it wasn't a thing that was going to happen. I would go the length to invite this dude before it ever happened, and then check on the invite again and text him in real time during the thing to see if he's going to pull up or not. And somehow this woman thought that there could be a chance that I was lying to him, and couldn't wrap her head around, I guess, it being true. And that hurt a lot. It hurt more than I thought that it was going to hurt after the fact. So like he's telling me all these things, and I'm like, wow, for real, my G? Wow. You know what I'm saying? Wow. It was just, whoa, flabbergasted at first. He tells me all this, and after he finishes telling me all this, he was like, she was saying all this stuff all the way up until he was leaving the house to come and pull up, which was wild to me. Like, she kept going on about it. And so he came, pulled up, saw that everything was as I said it was. It's happening in real time. He was there in the room when we recorded an album. So he can say that. I have pictures with him. He can say that. This album that is available right now, you could buy it everywhere. Digital albums, digital music is sold. I was in the room when that was recorded. When that happened, I was there. All the technical difficulties, all of I had to change my acoustic guitar's battery, the whole shebang, sound checking, all that. So he has that memory, but it really hurt me after the fact. And he when he told me all of this, I was like, and here you are, right? Because he's telling me this as we're in the studio doing our thing, and it's just like a sort of a little break time, and I'm like, here we are, right? That's a real board there, right? Those are my engineers right there, right? This is the group here. You want to come meet them, right? And he was like, oh yeah, like it's actually happening. It was not. I told him, like, this was not a lie. I'm not gonna lie to you about stuff like that. Why would I do that to you? Why would I have you come all the way out here for nothing? No, I'm not that person. And so after the fact, way after, is when it hit it when it weighed on me. I felt it. I've had experiences like that where, and I don't know if maybe it's me. If anybody feels the same way, write it in the comments. If you're listening to this on YouTube, send me some feedback. If y'all are out there, if some of y'all out there feel like the relationships that you had, or that you felt that you cultivated, or whether it was by proximity or otherwise, that you connected to that relationship and to that person in a deeper way than they connected to you. And it sometimes takes years later to understand that. I know I can't be the only one, but it happens. It's our shit. Blah 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 blah. It's happened to me on multiple occasions, where it just dawns on me, or it gets revealed to me. Wow, I really spent all that time caring deeply about you, for you to forget about me, and it be nothing for you. And I can't really blame other people, because they're living their life in their reality. They're living their reality in their life as they see it from their perspective, with all that entails. So if I'm connected to someone, or I'm someone's friend, it just is like that. You're not always as intensely caring about each other, or you're not always on the same level of care towards each other in friendships. Even in romantic relationships, it's like that. But yeah, it hit me hard in the feels, because of the audacity. Like, the audacity of you to think that I would lie to this person like that. Like, that I wouldn't care. Because I'm not around you, and you're not necessarily keeping track of my life, or keyed into what I'm doing, that somehow gives you the opening or the right to judge me without knowing any information, without having any pertinent information, even from the past, without having pertinent past information that could indicate something for the future. You just pass judgment and try to, with the judgment that you passed from however jaded you are, or what have you, you attempted to get someone else to doubt me. Get someone who had no reason to doubt me. Try to get them to doubt me. That hurts. Sticks and stones and so on, and you kind of dust it off, and you dust the haters off your shoulder. But sometimes when the haters are close to you, it hits different. You go through it. You got to feel. And that hurt a lot. Like, I had to, it was one of those aha moments, sort of those epiphany moments, that people can be extremely horrible, extremely cruel. And I've had to go through a lot of that stuff during the course of my life and my career and my development, coming to these realizations of the depths of cruelty that people perpetrate towards each other for silliness, over silly things, trivial things. But yeah, it cuts so deep, so deep. And that's when I had to it cut so deep, I knew not to wallow in that pain, because it stung real hard. It's like, all those years, like, did they not matter at all? I'm the kind of person that something like that goes down, or just in general, when I deal with people, shout out to people who are like this. I can get super intense and want to trace a lot of things, and understand that if you do the one thing, it can very easily mean all these other things. So it's like, as an example, if this person has the audacity, if they have it within them to be able to do this kind of thing as an affront against me, then what about all of those years that I was around you? Like, we were cool. I was cool with your family. I was cool. What about that? Was that all a lie? What was that? It causes me to question a lot of different things. So it hurt from multiple perspectives, not in multiple places, but from multiple perspectives. Like, we were a family. we were a family. We spent so much time together. You know, my parents, like all that time that we spent together in close proximity, did that mean nothing to you? That you would do something that you would do such a thing? Man, it hurt. But I had to pick myself up. And each time I go through something like this, I go through and then I got to pick myself up, because people are going to be people, and haters as a group, there's no gender. It's not gender specific. It's not racially specific. It's not ethnically specific. It's not age specific. Haters are going to be haters even if they're super close to you. And sometimes it hurts the most when you find out those haters are super close to you. But people are people. People are going to be people. And oftentimes the haters are hating because they want what you have. They want what you do. Sometimes they can't, especially people who knew you, like who know you and who knew you from when you were younger and want to continue to take the past. This wasn't necessarily my case in this story, but extrapolating, there are haters who want to take things that they know about you from the past and still put that on you when you're not that person anymore. You've developed, you've grown. They've seen when you were at your lowest, or when you were lower, or when you were base. They saw your base form. And so when you're evolving into your evolved form, they still want to remind you that of your base form. They still want to treat you like you're in base form because you evolved and they didn't. You evolved at a certain speed and they didn't. You had that rare candy. Wink, wink. For my Pokemon players out there, you ate that rare candy and you evolved. They didn't get to evolve, so they're gonna look to you as, oh, we're not in the same boat anymore. Now I have to be your adversary because I want what you have. I want to get to where you're getting to, and I don't want to learn. It's crazy because then to boot, they don't want to learn from you. Like, you're supposed to be close to me, or you're supposed to be my friend. You don't even want to learn from me how to get to where I'm at so we could both be there together. You're so involved in your hatred and your bitterness for me putting in the work, putting in the time, getting to where I want to be, that you miss opportunities. You miss the perks of being my friend, of being close to me, of being being associated with me as I evolve, because it trickles down. In the words of oh man, name is escaping me. In the words of the late Patrice O'Neal, it trickles down. You know, when I eat, my brother eats, my sister eats. So why would you want to mess something like that up with your haterade? You know? But yeah, just remember, the people are people, and they're always going to hate when you have something that they don't. Even if they're telling you that they don't want it, and I'm not that kind of person. I don't even really want it. I don't even think. But they're still hating on you. It's because they want it. Because they wish they had what you had. They wish they could do what you can do. They wish that they could do you, but they can't do you because only you can do you. So keep doing you. Keep doing you, regardless. The pain, the hurts and the pains are going to come. And the more that you do, the more that the haters are going to be exposed. Your evolution is going to shine a light onto the haters. When you step up and you evolve and you grow and you get to the next level through your hard work and your skills, and they don't do that, it's going to expose the difference between you and them. And people don't like that. People like status quos. The haters are that's why the more famous you get, or the more hotshotty you, not hotshotty, but the higher that you climb in the company, the more hated you become. People want it. They desire it, even if they talk bad about it. So, do you, Haters are going to keep drinking the haterade. When it hurts, let it hurt, but don't wallow in it. Grow from it. Don't become callous. Love people. Enjoy life. Cherish every day. Don't let the threat of becoming jaded overtake you. Don't let it be something that is clear and present. Danger. Engage. Be there. Be present. But remember that people are going to be people. They're going to be people. The haters that are closest to you are the ones that can cut you the most, or that can cut you the deepest. And when that happens, just remember that people are people. Remember that people hurt. Hurt people hurt people. Remember that. All right, so it's about that time for Rex. I don't think I have any Rex this week. I'm really just super hype about things that are coming, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and 3. I mean 1 and 2 for next gen systems and Xbox and PlayStation 4. I'm super duper hyped for it because I was a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater junkie. I've played almost all of the games, and let me tell you, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is my joint. It's my jam. Not 1 and not 3. I don't quite like how they switch things up in 3. 1 is the basics. 2, I like 2. I liked the progression from 1 to 2 was an amazing progression. And so I'm down. They're bringing all the old boards back. They're throwing in some new skaters, bringing the old skaters back. I'm hype for that. I think September 5th is when that's dropping. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm just hyped for that. I don't think I have any Recs for this week. I'll have some Recs next week, but I don't have any this week. I've just been lying low a little bit, contemplating some things. Certain world events have gone on, certain events in the entertainment industry, and it's caused me to take pause for a second on digesting certain things. But yeah, y'all, I'm glad that you were able to spend this time with me, whether it's the morning, evening, noon, night, whatever day it is. Thank you for listening. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. Thanks for taking the time out of your life, the seconds that you can't get back from listening to this podcast. Thank you. And I hope you don't want to take those seconds back from listening to the podcast. I'll add whatever length that you ended up listening to it. Just thank you. Thank you. We're going to be having some celebration soon because y'all are listening and the podcast is growing. So stay tuned for that. The Social Millennial Podcast is on Instagram and Facebook at Social Millennial Pod. We're on Twitter, Millennial Social. Once again, Millennial Social with 1 N, not 2 N's. I know it's a misspelling. To some of you sticklers, it's going to look funky. You don't really like it. But there's so many millennial podcasts out there that I needed to do something about it. But don't worry, we're going to be doing something else. We're going to be revamping our look here at the podcast. And it's going to be lit. It's going to be fire. Let's see what else. We're on YouTube, the Social Millennial Podcast. If you want to reach out to us, the Social Millennial Podcast at gmail.com. If you want to reach out to us on Twitter, message us. Message us on Facebook. We're out here. Comment on the YouTube channel. Comment on the video. If you enjoy it, let me know what part you enjoyed. If you feel the same way I feel, let me know. You know, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon for the YouTubers out there so that y'all can get the notifications of when it drops. All right? So enjoy yourselves this coming week. Count your blessings. Count your blessings, but don't keep count. I'll let y'all parse that. In the words of Country Wayne, I'll let that sizzle in your spirit. You feel me? Let it sizzle. But have a great week. Love people. Show up. Be there for people. Because it works wonders on the world, and on our society, and on our reality. All right? Keep your masks on. So social distance. We don't need to be getting into fights with masks and whatnot. And yeah, peace, love. All right. Stay up, stay strong, stay fighting, stay hungry, stay hustling. All right. Peace.
Walking through my city, So many people passing me by, but nobody seems to know why. Street lights saying stop and go, cars zipping past me to and fro. Does anybody know now? Oh, how time is slipping. 'Cause under the surface of the push and shove is New York City. The hustle and bustle of this town I love, that's New York City. Could there be a future here? Oh, so many people giving their sweat and tears. Does someone know the way? I'm sick of taking it day by day. Oh, 'cause under the surface of the push and shove is New York City. The hustle and bustle of this town I love. Under the Broadway lights, performers working day and night, filming for the TV screen, the movie house, and in between. Heights are heights and suit to suit, magic that you always knew. Stadium sounds, the love abound in the patter of little feet. Looking out for our fellow man, lending a helping hand, that's New York City. Coming together and taking a stand, that's New York City. 'Cause under the surface of the push and shove is New York City. Looking out for our fellow man, lending a helping hand, that's New York City. Coming together and taking a stand, it's New York City. The hustle and bustle of this town I love is New York City. That's New York City. That's New York City. That's New York City.